What is the most degenerate YouTube animator? I thought they were all degenerate.
Before starting today's video, thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring it. More about that later. Also, I got very sick when filming this, so I guess deal with it. So animation on YouTube has come a long way since its start around 2008, with a lot of creators present on platforms like Newgrounds, which was one of the primary hubs for animated content.
I remember my friend told me to go to Newgrounds, but my internet was so bad I literally couldn't load it. Yeah, my internet was really bad up until like 2012, I want to say.
At the time, and still kind of is. I just remember playing games on it as a kid, like Age of War and The Last Stand, which apparently became its own game.
Dude, that was so cool! I had the, there was like a violent one where you like kill stick figures.
A lot of creators started uploading their content from Newgrounds to the new and upcoming YouTube, which as of 2007 had just introduced its partner program so you could earn money from your videos. But in the early days this led to animations like the ASDF movie and Nyan Cat, both of which were abused more than any.
Oh my god, I drew Nyan Cat on my books.
Black tar heroine of those days because you could not escape them.
It was like 6-7.
In the early to mid 2010s, YouTube animation got another big boost with things like—
wait, this is Dom? I think his name is. Dude, this is actually kind of a blast from the past, dude.
Like Storytime animations,
Dominic's
which led to the rise of creators like Domix, SwoozyTube, Jade Animations, and Odd Ones Out, which since then has inspired the next wave of creators doing similar content. Animation on YouTube has come a long way since it first started, but what hasn't changed is the fact I am so grateful I am not an animator. Having to sit there for hours on end with keyframes and drawing the same thing 24 times.
And then listening to yourself too. That would drive me insane. I already edit my own videos, like, it's annoying as fuck, man. Having to listen to yourself.
Over slightly change just for a single second of animation, just for your software to inevitably fail and you
Sony Vegas!
have to start all over again. Yeah, you can take the cock and ball torture in open winter air elsewhere, thank you very much. I'm not built for that. However, with the rise of animation on YouTube and its many gifts like giving us Zach Hadel, it was still unfortunately not immune from its fair share of infamous creators, and don't get me wrong, it's doing better than other similar communities, especially the art commentary community.
No, I will say that, embarrassingly, Jaden Animations is kind of my YouTube crush. Of course she's way out of my league, and I'm not talking about the real her, I'm talking about her cartoon.
It was a little bit awkward, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
Character.
Nobody, and I mean nobody, forced you to say that, so why—
Yeah, you did not have to share that. You could have probably kept that, like, to yourself and just said, like, oh, I like her drawings or something.
Why did you tell us? But despite the YouTube animator community being revered for its talent, range of personalities, engaging stories, and just overall positive reputation, at the same time there are some creators that seemingly have the opposite effect. So today I thought we'd look at some of said creators and what they did to deserve their reputation as the more infamous side of YouTube animation. Do I know any of these? That's the big question. Starting with one that may be viewed as a more gentle kneecapping compared to the others.
Gentle kneecap? Last time he was talking about the worst furries, and it was a guy that used his own fursuit as a jizz rag. I don't know if I can trust this guy, I'm not gonna lie.
Shows I mentioned, we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Oh, Bob Ross.
So one of the entries many would add to this list is Nutshell Animations. You'll probably come across their content in one form or another, especially if you are on YouTube Shorts or TikTok, which is another reason to download Instagram Reels, but
Base! Dude, switching to Instagram Reels is so much better. Dude, I did the switch. So worth it, dude. Actually worth it. TikTok just blows so much ass, especially after the buyout.
Nutshell started uploading in 2018, with a lot of his first animations actually using his own personality and voice.
Hi, what can I get you? Hi, yeah, can I get a number 2, 3 number 5s, a number 8, and a number 69?
His start was very similar to the starting point of many other big animation channels, but before that, let's talk about today's sponsor, War Thunder. Something you've heard a lot about on this channel. Since actually trying it, my 10 hours have turned into over 100. War Thunder is the
How many hours does this guy have? 129. I thought it was more than that.
Over 100. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game on the internet right now, and it's completely free to play on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and now even mobile. You can take command of over 2,500 vehicles, from classic World of War tanks and aircrafts to modern fighter jets and destroyers. The level of detail is honestly impressive. Every vehicle is modeled down to its individual components in respect to its real-life counterpart: engines, fuel tanks, armor plates, and you can even see exactly what happens in the X-ray kill cam when you take down an enemy. They also recently overhauled their in-game audio, and honestly, breaching the barrel of an IS-2 with Tiger has never sounded better. I personally love realistic ground battles with my Tigers and Panthers. Just remember, with most Russian tanks, aim for the armor near the tracks. And if you're on the go, there's now a full mobile version of the game with the same massive multiplayer action. So play War Thunder now for free and join a community of more than 95 million players by using my links in the description and pinned comment. New and returning players who haven't played in 6 months will get a massive bonus pack for PC and consoles. There are multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium. But it's only available for a limited time, so there's no better time than now to jump in. Once again, thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Anyway, back to Nutshell and his earlier animations. Their art style was constantly developing and changing with each video, topics varied dramatically, and usually their earlier content makes them seem like a completely different channel when you compare it to their later content, but Nutshell would deviate slightly from other animation channels. Whilst yes, if he kept making the story time and more personal videos, it may have potentially panned out in the future like other animation channels, but he didn't do that. Instead, he found a type of content that was a lot less personal but a lot more profitable in terms of channel growth. And that was animated meme content, taking the audio of a popular meme of the time and animating it most times with his own interpretation of it.
Helicopter, helicopter.
Eventually he would build up a library of said short videos, and most were getting a decent amount of views. But YouTube was—
I just saw it! He watched this one! He watched this one with the Boomer video!
Decent amount of views. But YouTube wasn't the only platform he was performing well on, as in 2020 TikTok was reaching new heights in popularity, and he had started uploading his content there as well, which to say the least was one of his best decisions, since a lot of his videos racked up millions of views and some even went viral, whilst also directing a small amount of people back to his YouTube channel where they could see content like behind the scenes of some of the animations, and in general some of his longer form content. However, in 2021, with the launch of YouTube Shorts, he would evidently start using that as a vehicle to push his channel further, and his YouTube channel began to mirror his TikTok. He put a lot more effort into short form content than anything else, which was
because short form, like, that's the problem. If you make a 1-minute video and post it on YouTube, it's gonna die because it doesn't get views. YouTube posting long form content as like a 1 minute, it doesn't make you any money, and it also dies in the algorithm because it thinks that it's not worth it. It sucks so much. I totally get why he did it.
Obvious decision, since this was the content that got him the most attention, and with this he would reach 1 million subscribers shortly after in 2022. At this time, both his art style and signature characters were easily recognizable, and he would start to be noticed outside of the platforms he regularly posted on. Even at this point, he did face some criticism, like how in some videos he would not credit those behind the original audio or idea, and some viewed his content as subjectively cringe or somewhat over-sexualized for the audience he had at the time. But said criticism was outweighed by the success he was seeing from his short form content, and the fact that the audience that regularly viewed his content didn't really seem to care. By September of 2024, he had now reached 9 million subscribers, and still he would continue to grow from there, in the current day sitting at over 10 million subscribers. So you're probably wondering, how can this guy, apart from the critiques I already
What did he
mentioned, be
do?
hated and considered one of the more
Politics? Did he go full-blown politics or something?
infamous YouTube animators? Well, I'm getting to it. Calm down, you ADHD-riddled fuck. Well, in January of 2025, the commentary YouTuber Bedo999 would make a video where multiple animators had contacted him to share their experience with Nutshell, because Nutshell wasn't doing these almost daily animations by himself.
He had to outsource them.
Matter of fact, it was alleged at this point he wasn't doing much of the animation at all. But you wouldn't know that because he wasn't actively crediting the people behind these videos. And in the video they go on to explain how Nutshell had an army of animators, apparently up to 20, with more often than not most being offered $50 per animated video, despite Nutshell making significantly more per video.
That's
One
crazy.
of said animators apparently spent 8 hours per video, and the quality showed, but after only getting paid $50 and sometimes only getting paid after doing 2 videos for him, and there was known issues with how long it would take for him to pay said animators. But with
That's bad. Again, on one hand, you shouldn't agree to that kind of work. It's not good for you as an artist. You should never undersell yourself. But, like, they not paying them is unacceptable. That's fucked up. Like, 8 hours of work and then it takes you 2 to 3 weeks to fucking get paid. That's fucked.
how many hours this animator
At least
specifically
pay
was putting
them. Good
in, this
lord.
meant they were getting paid around $6 per hour, which is
Yeah,
well
that's
below
insane.
poverty levels. That is straight up sewer levels. And another animator reached out, and it only took them an hour and 30 minutes to make their animations for him, with significantly less quality compared to the other animator, and despite doing less work, they both got paid the same, even when the one that put more effort in got more views. Now, I know animators are notoriously
They unionized. They talked with each other. Uh-oh.
underpaid, and you can question the morals of Nutshell doing this, especially only paying $50 per animation, even though they technically carry his channel and most definitely should be paid more. But these animators agreed to do this work with these conditions.
You should have also told them to credit you. Yeah, that would have given you even more leverage at least, but like you just agreed to it and said like, okay, I'm fine with not being credited. I don't know, man. Yeah, and then someone said, oh, it's $50 is a lot in some countries. It doesn't matter. If you're doing a good job, you should be compensated appropriately. Yeah, like what are we talking about here?
From the video, they were told the price beforehand. From what was seen, they were not promised that they were going to be given credit for
He
their
never said he would credit his animators. Once I responded to comments on the animation difference, said nice animation. And I replied with thanks, I'm the animator that made this video. And then Nutshell contacted me in DMs and told me to stop replying to comments because people were recognizing my style underneath his videos. Yeah, because you agreed to not credit. This is what I mean. I feel like this is probably like young kids or probably like people who don't speak English very well. They don't know what they're agreeing to, and then they just find out like that they're getting fucked like this. If I had to wager, I guess.
work. He even
It's
before
not okay,
forbid one
I'm
of the
just
animators
saying, like,
from
that
just
explains a
commenting
lot.
on the video saying they drew it, because his agency didn't like it and the channel isn't supposed to have a face or any identity to it. So yes, he is underpaying them and that sucks, but as adults, they are agreeing to be underpaid. No matter how many hours they put towards the content with once again no credit, they still agreed to do it and produce the animations. They could negotiate for more pay or to actually be credited, but admittedly
be
with my
paid on
own
time.
speculation, he might have just dropped them and gone for somebody that would take the 50 buckaroos and not take credit. But in my opinion, these animators are adults. They weren't forced to do these animations, they could have refused, but they still did the work and accepted the payment they were offered. And
If they were told that they were going to get credited, it would have been another strike on being a dickhead, but like he never said he would. Yeah, it's obviously being a dick, but like yeah, makes sense.
From my understanding, it's not like there were contracts or they were employees of him, it was mostly like commission work. But the key word there was as adults. As further in the video and in their follow-up, it's discussed that allegedly Nutshell commissions a number of animators.
I told you, 15 years old. I called it. I literally called it. He used kids. You know.
that were underage, which is quite a step up from just fucking over adults to make a profit, which still looks bad, but they are adults. But if those that are being reached out to are underage and are probably less...
because they're stupid and they don't know any better. Not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying kids are easily manipulated. Yeah, they'll be like, oh shit, I can animate for this really cool channel? That sounds sick.
Aware and don't know any better compared to the adults, yeah, it starts to look a lot worse. It starts to look a lot like child labor. On top of him apparently telling them they can do work whenever they want, but then apparently gets frustrated and lectures them when they don't do the work he told them they can do whenever. Yeah, it doesn't look good
just
and
using
is
them,
very morally wrong, but he would later respond to the video and the claims against him, basically saying what he was doing wasn't illegal, and he was correct, but morally wrong and possibly taking advantage of people who don't know any better. Yeah.
They were probably not from America, if I had to wager a guess. There's not a lot of labor laws outside of America, if I had to look it up.
Eventually took down his response video, and in future videos he did start crediting the creators that animated the videos. It's unsure if he did start paying these people well after this situation, and it didn't have any long-term effects on his channel. It still does pretty well to this day, but I will say his reputation has been significantly affected and is still somewhat negative to this day since it happened.
Yeah.
Do you suspect some alien subterfuge behind this failure?
So James Bear was a YouTuber that started uploading in 2014, and in his earlier content you could see he was clearly inspired by the late Eddsworld's YouTube series, even attempting to make his own version of it called Jam World, which continued all the way to 2018, but you probably won't recognize some of his earlier work. You would more recognize his animations for specifically this character, Claire. And videos like After November are reference to what happens after No Nut November. Nothing happens, by the way. It's not like...
True. Nothing happens.
The Shangri-La Easter egg. Your semen doesn't get a pack-a-punch or some
If anything, I'm pretty sure I read that, like, withholding yourself like that is not good for your prostate. Yeah.
James started to gain more traction around 2019, especially on videos involving Claire, in which he would soon reach 100,000 subscribers in December of the same year, and his channel would continue to grow from there, reaching 300,000 subscribers in September of 2021. Now, I could say James was a very promising animator, and he potentially could have become an even bigger animator in the future, but one, it was too early to tell. And two, in the following year of 2022, James Bear's YouTube career would come to a crashing halt, all down to his own deplorable actions. Just to warn you from this point on, the things discussed get quite disturbing and graphic, so viewer discretion is advised going forward. Don't say I didn't warn you, this is about to get very, very bad very, very fast. In 2022, a post would be made on Twitter by someone called Lalo Does Art about the very disgusting things James had done. But James at that point had been exposed for these same things multiple times, and multiple people had known about them beforehand. Because James was apparently very open about this, especially in conversation. But the first
open about your... What? About what?
Document about this was posted in 2017, but the document was basically unreadable, and the guy that posted it had his own motive.
Holy essaying!
This document about this was posted in 2017,
shit.
But the document was...
Oh my god, there's Skype screenshots! Oh god, oh lord! Oh, look at this caps lock!
Basically unreadable, and the guy that posted it had his own motive, which was to get James to break up with Claire, an actual person, and was James's girlfriend. And the person that made the document wanted them to break up because this guy was an ex-boyfriend of Claire, and Claire had broken up with the person that wrote the document and then started dating James.
Ulterior motive, okay. Yeah,
so basically his motive was revenge, not bringing to light the things
that's bad.
James had done, and that is later supported because he would blackmail James, saying if he didn't break up with Claire, he would keep the document up, and they would strike some sort of deal, leading to the document poster publicly admitting the document was false and fabricated. Now, it's
I'm sorry. Oh my god, people are insane.
Because of things like this, before 2022, the claims against James went unnoticed. That and because every time James responded or even admitted to the things he did, he would delete the response or private his account. And each time his responses were either lost to time, not well documented, or fell on deaf ears. But in 2022, the user Lola Does Art made a post on Twitter with
Alana, what would need to happen for you to do that on Twitter? Do what? Private my account? I don't know. I've never like thought about privating my account. Like what? I feel like you private your account, you look so fucking guilty. No, say I'm sorry so many times. That's not gonna happen. I'm a woman. I never say sorry. What are you talking about?
an entire archive of all the documents, James's previous responses, and finally the story had reached a wider audience, and evidently James's audience. Now I've prolonged this long enough, but what did James do? Well, to be blunt, as far back as 2013, when James had just become a teenager, he had a sexual relationship with his sister, who was 4 years younger than him. He would discuss this with multiple people. In screenshots, he blames most of it on depression, his health, and his dad emotionally abusing him.
That's not an excuse, bro. Oh my god, I'm actually gonna be sick. Like, I hate this shit because, like, I can kind of, like... I have an older brother, and he's older than me. It's like, this is a grooming thing. This is so fucked up. Ew. I couldn't imagine.
Which didn't excuse him from anything.
No.
He would say this happened multiple times, all the way to 2016. And even an excuse that was all consensual.
And then admitting it on the internet too. Like, everybody has to know about it. I'm gonna be sick.
Doesn't help anything considering her age. She was the victim. But quickly after this surfaced, he rightfully lost his platform. He tried explaining himself multiple times with different excuses.
420 blaze it.
But it didn't work. And in 2024, he would make his 8th and last.
There's so many people with depression and have emotionally abusive, like, parents or something that don't resort to incesting their sibling. Like, what is wrong with you, man? That's not an excuse. And then going around and telling everyone?
Response before going silent on all platforms.
What?
Around that time, someone claiming to be his sister would come out with their own document, claiming James didn't stop what he was doing in 2016 and continued to SA her, with his last attempt being in 2020. And more about the things James had done in disturbing detail, and even that she had told her mother at one point and she did nothing. And the proof that she was—
That's the fucking worst.
The sister was a picture of his setup, and she asked if—
Oh my god. And this is before AI too.
People could donate so she could escape her current living situation. But she would then take down the document due to her family apparently disagreeing with this choice, and apparently she did all of this because she was upset. And in James's response video, she would apparently be present, corroborating the story that none of this ever happened. The thing he admitted to in DMs multiple times, even made public posts admitting to it when confronted, never happened.
This is Alicia speaking, or in other words, this is his sister speaking. And what my brother James is saying is true. First, I would like to—
my first thought is she has a gun to her head. Nah. Yeah, like, this sounds like she's, like, held hostage.
Give my deepest apology to everyone for spreading misinformation about my brother and about my own family. Truth be told, that I only came forward because I was only upset, and my reasons for being upset were petty, and I had a falling out with a friend. Back in 2022, when James was making his last big response on the whole situation, I was actually going to help clear his name back then, but he insisted that he would do all of this on his own since he didn't want me or any more of his family members to be involved after the drama, and especially the doxing situation. He basically took the blame for nothing. Even after all this time, it was never easy for him to admit that nothing happened between us, when truly he was innocent for the most part.
In the video, you could hear the crinkles of paper that she was reading off of. I just think her tone of voice just sounds really forced. And it also corroborates with like the family getting upset at her. This is a very common thing in abusive families. I do believe that that guy was abused by his dad, and if that's true, then it makes sense that the entire family is protecting like one another in order to like not have this come out like into the public. Yeah, like it just makes sense.
Lastly, I want people to know that my family is not silencing me.
Yeah, the entire
way.
family's guilty.
I overreacted when the police got involved for the second time.
Obviously, after this, people thought this
So
wasn't
bad.
her
This
or
is
James or the
awful.
family forced her to do this due to things like previous doxing attempts and police being called to their house, but there would never be any answers if that was the case because, as said, James has been silent since. But still to this day, James Bear is a name many regard with infamy. So this person on the list wasn't well known within the animation community initially, but when this situation concluded, they wouldn't be known to just the internet, but much wider, primarily due to the
Oh no!
things they did. This person is Cristali, and they were a part of the animation meme community. Not like some of the content the previous people I talked about dabbled in, but a specific flavor of the animation community where it's basically like an AMV. It's not really supposed to be funny like you would think a meme would be, but it's supposed to be satisfying to watch with the catchy music and potentially goofy animations. This type of animation has always had a home on YouTube and still—
Yeah, that's been a thing since like forever. I remember looking up Sonic AMVs of like really badly made Windows Movie Maker like Sonic AMVs with Amy and shit.
To this day is
Holy
quite popular,
crap. Or, like,
mainly in
Naruto
communities like
AMVs.
Gacha Life.
Classic.
Although in the aftermath of this situation and what they were exposed for, a lot of their content would be removed from the internet, but has been archived on re-upload channels.
The internet doesn't forget, chat!
It said they started making this content around 2017, and what was known about them around this time from what they told their audience is that she was a teenager from Guatemala who, apart from her native language, was also pretty fluent in English as seen through her regular interactions with her community through videos responding to comments.
I thought to say hi like this. So here we go. Thanks to Delphi, to Chicken the Nugget.
Now despite
Aww, that's wholesome. Yeah.
starting in 2017, her channel grew pretty fast,
you.
gaining 1,000 subscribers in the first few months.
That's a lot, by the way. 1,000 subs in a couple of months back then is insane.
And nearing the end of the following year, almost
Crazy.
80,000 subscribers, and at their peak,
Wow.
100,000 subscribers in 2019.
Sick.
However, such a fast rise was not without its fair share of controversies. The usual age for the audience of this type of content is fairly young, apparently 13 to 24.
Wow, called it.
But in my opinion, it's more towards the lower ages of that
Yeah,
range.
for sure.
But they would start to receive some criticism for some of their uploads, which you could say was
Whoa!
for some of their
Excuse
uploads, which
me.
you could say was sexually charged. On top of the fact they had a Patreon that was straight up serving NSFW art for a price, and with some of said art being of other YouTubers in the same niche as them, which
Oh gosh.
not only is
See, how does that work? Like you drawing lewd things as a kid, does that get you charged? Or is it like, how does that work? I've never actually thought about it. What if a kid who's under 18 draws lewd things and sells it for money? Good question. I don't know how that works. Depends on location. Yeah, but like how does that work?
extremely weird to have on a YouTube channel that kids mainly visit, but making weirder NSFW art of other creators' characters that said kids can access for your own monetary gain is fucking
But it's like you're creating it. You're the child. So like how does that work?
terrible. Also around this time, people would start to notice some of their animations and artwork were traced from other creators. So you would start
That's like child art 101. You grow out of it, like if you're actually truly an artist, I'm this might be a hot take. when you're 13 years old and you start drawing, tracing is the one thing that you can learn something from, and you need to like practice a lot to like actually realize that you're good at it in order to develop your art skills. Because when you're like a kid, you don't have like the cognitive ability to like practice well enough, so tracing is actually really, really good. It's a good learning tool. So like when I see kids tracing, I always feel like kind of bad, because it's like, yeah, it's not right to trace and like post it online and say it's your own work, but I feel like when you're doing it as an adult, or you're like claiming as it's your own, it's bad. Which I think is fair. Yeah, when you're earning money from it, I think that's bad, obviously. Yeah, tracing is great for practice. My dad, actually, the first thing I did when I for those that don't know, like I really like art and I like drawing. When I have time, I love to draw. One of the first things my dad did was said, take this picture book and take out the page and put it on the window and draw over it to practice the shapes. And I remember that's like a core memory of mine. So like even my dad, like who was into art and stuff, he encouraged me to trace, obviously to practice shapes and drawings. Because you put it against the sun and then you can like kind of like make outlines and stuff. Yeah.
Received some backlash for these actions, and a lot of creators she had traced would add fuel to the fire, publicly
yeah, this is
criticizing
bad, because what she's doing is she's reselling it, which is not good.
But the backlash wouldn't result in anything really happening for the most part. They would later apologize, essentially saying they had Parkinson's, and it was hard to draw because of that.
Aww.
And some would just brush this off as them not knowing any better because they were young.
Parkinson's, for those that don't know, it's like when you shake and you can't like hold your hand steady. I don't think that's a good enough excuse, man. Because, like, there's plenty of people that can draw with Parkinson's and then they draw their own original stuff.
But that excuse would only work if they were a young teen
so.
and actually
it's really
who
rare.
they said they were. Because it would be discovered not only by some of their...
I think you can get Parkinson's as a kid. Can you get Parkinson's at any age? Yes, you can get Parkinson's at any age. It's almost common after 50. About 10 to 50 of cases, 10 to 20% of cases are only early onset before 50, and some diagnosed in their 20s or teens, while a rare form. Yeah, you can. It's just rare. Yeah, I can believe that. That's sad. It's real.
Earlier uploads they had taken down, but by later allegations against them that Cristali wasn't in their teens. They were actually 4 years older than what they said they were and was 20. And not only that, they were not a female at all.
Hello everyone, my name is Baldur, and today we're recording a new video to question and answer. That's it? Answer questions. It is or no?
And that voice you heard earlier, that was one of the many females he commissioned for the voiceover for
Oh my god! What?
videos, who also weren't very happy that they were not being credited for said work because Cristali wanted to keep up this facade. So an adult...
Dude, he's like actually kind of like an OG VTuber without the voice changer. That's crazy.
Man was basically running a YouTube channel.
He commissioned girls to talk for him. Honestly, that is so funny, dude. What the
pretending to be
fuck?
a teenage girl whilst also creating sexually charged videos. They were tracing and advertising straight up NSFW content he was making on a different platform. Yeah. It gets worse, by the way. So the person behind...
It gets worse than underage, like, selling corn and tracing. What?
Behind Cristali was David Alejandro Pascual Argueta, born January 7th, 1998. And when people started to slowly find out he wasn't who he said he was, he would kind of go back and forth owning it and denying it. He would upload videos with his face talking, and then he would quickly delete them after, and then he would go back to uploading the same content like nothing ever happened. But for a little while longer, he would still have a platform, down to some still not being aware he was a guy and some simply not caring. But that wouldn't be for long. Actually, not only would he lose his platform, he would also rightfully lose his freedom. Around 2018, a video would be uploaded by Lemmercat, someone that had previously done a collab with Cristali, going into how he had sent her disturbing messages, NSFW content, and had been requesting inappropriate pictures of her despite her
without bra and without panty.
being a minor and him knowing her age. This video is also one of
¿Por qué pregunta? Oh no.
the reasons people found out who he actually
No,
was.
porque
And once again, you would think this would be enough to
no.
end Cristali, but this situation wasn't covered significantly around this time. On top of the fact, Cristali or David had weaponized his audience, harassing and even at one point doxing other creators who dare speak about his interactions with this minor. This meant that the name Cristali was able to exist with
Yeah, porque pregunta is why you ask. Like pregunta is like question. So it's like, yeah, like they're just talking. It's just so fucking crazy to me that like is this a crime documentary? The first time chatter. I mean, technically, yeah, I guess. Technically speaking.
somewhat of
I
a
think you
following
could
for
say
a
it
bit
is a
longer
crime
past
documentary.
2018 into 2019, and it also meant there would be more victims, with another case where he had apparently been dating a minor that was 8 years younger than him when he was in his 20s, and he did the same thing he did to the other victim. And 2 other creators who were also minors would come out with their stories on David, where he would once again message them inappropriately, request pictures, and send explicit pictures to them. And finally, a lot more people would take notice, and eventually even more creators, with more victims coming out with their stories. With the amount of people that now knew about the situation, a number of reports would be made against David's YouTube channel and to David's local law enforcement, where David in April of 2019 would be taken into custody and have all of his devices seized, and all of this was recorded and covered on his local news. In an article regarding this, it would say that he was accused of receiving photographs of underage girls and making sexualized.
I do think there's like something to be said about people that grow up on the internet, become so immersed in like this, like you can obviously tell that he never grew up, and like he literally couldn't differentiate anymore, that he was like actually an adult and had a lot of power over these kids. I think that's like a massive issue that's been going on since like the inception of the internet, of these people who have like mental illnesses that just genuinely just can't grow up. They never do. They still think they're like mentally 16 or like 15 years old. And then they grow up and they're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna keep dating them. I'm gonna use my power as an adult to like manipulate kids, yeah.
Animate
Yeah,
copies of the images to then sell on illegal websites. The charge against him would be trafficking, in which he would only receive 3 years and 5 months in jail. And apparently due to the length of the sentence in Guatemala, he could potentially...
Guatemalan jail? Yo, any Guatemalans in chat? That's not a fun time, is it? That's not a good time. Guatemalan jail is probably not very fun. Where's Guatemala? South America. I doubt it. No, definitely not. Jail in Latin America is not a fun time.
pay a set fee to avoid going to jail
Central
at
America.
all. But he would still have to go on the sex
Mexico.
offender registry and have to comply with anything the court has set, like house arrest or parole. Now, we don't know if he actually did get this offer to pay or if he did go to jail. There was no other news regarding this, and obviously people were disturbed the sentence was so short. But by now, those 3 years and 5 months would be over, and despite his main channel being removed in 2021, some have theorized he is still on the internet, operating another YouTube account, but there has been no significant evidence to prove these proposed channels may be his. Make sure to check out Jormy49's video on this. A lot of the information here was found from his video, and he also goes into way more depth about the deplorable things this person has done.
What is the charge? Eating a meal?
A succulent, delicious meal?
Succulent Chinese meal?
It's bad, I know that. A succulent Chinese meal?
So those were some YouTube animators who are infamously regarded in the community. Obviously some worse than others, and some that have left a stain on the history of YouTube animation for one reason or another. And unfortunately, there were a lot more I could have mentioned, but YouTube animation nowadays is doing fine. You have some genuinely impressive and entertaining creators on the platform, and instances like this are rare and obviously not unique to animation. Although there are quite
I think when you have a big community like this, there's always going to be bad apples. It's the same with VTubers, streamers in general. I don't know, man.
a lot. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to talk about today. Once again, thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check it out. It's free on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. You can find the links below and in the pinned comments to grab your bonus pack, including multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive Eagles of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium. Available on PC and consoles for new and returning players who haven't played for at least 6 months. And don't forget, you can even play it on the go with the new mobile version of the game.
You don't know that.
But yeah,
What if I have
that's all
bodies
I
in the
had to
basement?
say, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye! Thanks, Royalty. You're cool. Thank you. Yet another great, fantastic video by the Mr. Royalty Bird Furry. It's great. Ni howdy! Yeah, let's fucking check him out. He's cool. He's a cool guy. Cool little bird. Making cool things.